It turns out that I could not live with a void for very long, so I ordered a book. It's a book by Joe Vitale called Zero Limits, and it's a kind of a self-help book, but I mean, the reason why I ordered it is a little interesting. A long time back, I think this was around 8 to 10 years ago. I was consulting a friend's sister. She was a hypnotherapist. She is a hypnotherapist, not a practicing one at the moment, I think. She's moved to the States since. In any case, so then my friend sister, who I will also refer to as my friend, was starting out with her practice, and I was basically going through some personal issues at the time, and I consulted with her, and there was a particular concept that she had introduced to me at that time. It was the concept of a Hawaiian prayer, and the prayer has a very sweet name. It's called the Ho'oponopono prayer. Ho'oponopono. I think that's the one. It's really it's a very sweet prayer, and or maybe I was really besotted with it because it's Hawaiian, and it centers a lot on the issues of using the purest, most divine, and most honest part of yourself to forgive people or forgive a situation, and most importantly forgive yourself. And the basic premise is that the reality that we are experiencing, and everybody who is part of this reality, is us. It is some part of us, and that's a big one to basically get your head wrapped around and to accept in your heart, because the kind of responsibility that puts on you is a little crazy. It's one thing to be responsible for yourself and your thoughts and your actions. That itself is difficult. Now imagine that you have to be responsible for the actions of everyone that you're interacting with, or that the kind of bad behavior that you are seeing, that you are somehow responsible for that. In any case, I mean, I think that you get to this point where you even consider something like this, like taking 100% responsibility for something else that's happening around, when you really are at a point where nothing else has worked. So in any case, to cut a long story short, a long time back in one of my hypnotherapy sessions is when my friend had talked to me about it, and many years later, I used to do that kind of practice for some time, and it's a practice that you need to do regularly, continuously. But I did it for a while, and it had really helped. I mean, I became a thinking, functioning individual after using that prayer. And then I stopped, and many years later, and we're looking at, like, say, 10 years later, um, I came across someone who was using this, and that is awesome. And she basically teaches this particular prayer and all of that, and I found it pretty awesome because I was not looking for that video. I I mean, the conscious part of me was not looking for the video, but I think something inside of me was seeking it. Um, and maybe I needed a much stronger reminder this time around that it's important to get connected with some practice of forgiveness. Um, and there's a very interesting case study that Joe Vitale has written about in that particular book. Um, it's about this psychiatrist who treats an entire ward of criminally insane patients without meeting them. And his premise or his method of treating them is that, you know, uh, like this thing of 100% responsibility that I just spoke about, he works on the premise that if those people are criminally insane, if they are in that kind of pain and they are in that kind of anger, then something inside of him, that is inside of the psychiatrist, has caused that. Uh, so, so I mean, I am interested in reading about that. So that's the book that I ordered. Uh, yes. So I have gone against my theory of not ordering, or my resolution of not ordering more books, but I think I'll just let that resolution rest because it's not working for now, maybe a little later. But this time I'm committed to at least reading the books that I order instead of, uh, you know, having good intentions about them and not doing anything.